We're here in Liverpool. I'm joined by Molly McCann. She faces Gillian Robertson on May 27th at UFC Liverpool. First of all, Molly, thanks for joining me.
No problem at all.
So just 10 and a half weeks ago, you became the flyweight champ at Cage Warriors 90.
Is that how long ago it was? Yeah.
10 and a half weeks. It feels like it's gone so fast.
No, it does, yeah. It literally felt like yesterday. A lifetime's work, you know. Being in and out of the gym doing various stuff since I was about 10 or 11. Only got into MMA 5 years ago. And there's a really cool email that surfaced that UFC Europe posted where after the Liz Carmouche and Ronda Rousey fight, I basically text Paul saying, hey, I want to be like that Ronda, I'll be in on Monday. And then it was 5 years to that day I sent the email, I won the world title. And then it was like 6 weeks after, maybe 4 weeks after winning the title, I got signed to the UFC. So a massive few weeks for me.
I was about to say so because it's in just 2.5 weeks now, UFC Liverpool. Going from becoming the flyweight champ to making your UFC debut and at the Echo Arena, could you have envisioned it any better?
Probably not. When the fight cards got announced, I literally, my phone blew up, like, because everyone was like, Molly, it's kind of written in the stars that this is meant for you, it's the right time, because I could have gone on the Ultimate Fighter season 26. I got offered to go on the Contender Series. But my kind of dream was always to win a world title before I went to the UFC. I always wanted a little bit of a bargaining chip, and I wanted to build not a following but a little bit of a legacy here, because say if the worst came to worst and I'm in the UFC and I get an injury and I can't fight no more, at least I've got a bit of longevity in the fact that people in Europe really know who I am. Do you know what I mean? And I'm never going to rush my way to the top. It's going to take me as long as it's going to take me, and I'm going to go the right way and not cut any corners. So I believe everything's about time, and it's kind of like this little slingshot. I fought in Brazil a couple of years ago, and I fought a Brazilian, got absolutely robbed on the decision. Out of 11 fights, it's my only loss that I've got. And I just didn't lose the fight, but that was the kind of like slingshot moment. That was the thing where I came back and then I was just propelled forward ever since that moment. So,
and talk to me about your opponent. You're facing Gillian Robertson. What are your thoughts on her, and do you think there's anywhere that she could pose any threats?
Yeah, I like the way you worded that then. Always an opponent is going to be dangerous, and you're not always going to be well-rounded. Someone's going to have a weaker area somewhere in their armour. So I think people like to think mine's grappling, and if I'm fighting a grappler in Gillian Robertson, she's not going to have the striking prowess that I have. So we're kind of kryptonite to each other. I know everyone is beatable, but I kind of feel like if the judges and the referees don't rob me on a decision, you're not going to beat me by wearing me down or taking me down and getting a submission. It's just not going to happen. Like, my will to win tends to be more than anyone I've ever come up against. I don't think that she can beat me anyway. If we put a gi on and started doing jiu-jitsu, maybe she get better position and she's still not going to tap me. Striking, wrestling, conditioning, I am a world champion, and I know I'm coming in as a contender on the UFC. I've gone from headlining to probably opening the show, which is a big difference, but I could be fighting in a car park or a sports centre or the Echo Arena. It doesn't matter, fight to fight. So I'm willing. I'm going to go in and probably finish at end of first, beginning of second.
And every time we see you, we always see more and more from your skill set. You're always improving. We're sat here at Next Generation Gym right now, which is where you train. Yeah. Talk to me about them and how they've shaped you as an athlete.
Yeah, I used to play football, I used to box. So coming from those backgrounds, I had a lot of cardio and I had fast feet and I had good punching from boxing. So coming to a grappling based gym, there was a lot of frustration on my side, because if you can't do something in football and boxing, it's really quick to ask okay, I can't pass the ball there, can you just show me what to do? And then the ball is going to go that way. Coming here, learning how to stop a takedown, learning how to get up against the cage, learning how to do submissions, defend submissions. It was a lot of frustration, and you'll know by interviewing certain fighters here, it's a really nice vibe, and it's like, it's just family, it's such a family orientated gym, and our fight team, it's like brothers and sisters, do you know what I mean? So when I'm struggling, my training partner will be like, do this, do this, do this. And it's funny because even though I am to the level I am, when I'm rolling or doing something now with my partner, I go, that's right, isn't it? And they go, yeah, Mal, you know, it's right. But I always look for that little bit of clarification when I'm doing it. Paul Rimmer had a little a diamond in the rough with me, and he's really polished me off. He's really worked hard on my MMA, and our Thai coach Simon Audley, he was actually Darren Till's Thai coach. So when you look at Darren's style of fighting, if you look at my last 3 fights, Si's been my head striking coach in them last 3, so similar combinations or similar things you'll start noticing from the both of us come from Simon. So I feel like I was always had a point to prove in my fighting style, and going into the cage following the likes of Paddy and Fisher, you've got to be someone, you've got to be you can't just get washed away in the sea of the other fighters. And I feel like my style, I've not really seen another girl who can punch like me, or if they get taken down, get up and then punish that person, make them pay for taking you down. So I kind of owe everything to the coaches and the people here at the gym.
And we briefly talked about it as well just before we started rolling the cameras about the past few weeks and training. What does an average day look like for you? So how often do you train a day?
Training will be 10:30 till 12. We'll either do MMA or sparring. 12 till 1 or 12 till 12:30 we'll do conditioning, which will either be weights, circuit training, VO2 max, sprints, or plyometric stuff. We have a few hours off in the afternoon, and if you're fortunate enough to not have to work or PT, then you can go home and rest, or we've got a telly and a PlayStation set up, so FIFA competitions, yeah. Coming back at the night time, that's the tough bit. There's 3 classes at the night time, and when you're in fight camp, you're obliged to do at least 1. When you're not in fight camp, you've normally got a little bit more energy, because sometimes you don't do the conditioning, and you normally do 2 or 3. Pardon me, I train 6 days a week. I'll have a Saturday off, so I train Monday to Friday, I have a Saturday off, and then on a Sunday, I don't know if it's from playing football or from boxing, but I always go for a really long run. I'm used to playing 90 minutes on a Sunday, so I think it's just ingrained in me since being young. But that's the kind of time where I'm visualisation and imagining what's going on. I normally run, you'll know, being from Liverpool, but there's Everton Valley and there's the famous hills there. Or I go to Toxteth Streets, there's like 12 streets like that where you sprint up, jog down. And that's where I just kind of visualise the fight and get ready for the week, and healthy mind, healthy body, healthy spirit, all in one.
Obviously, with this fight being in Liverpool, how loud do you think it's going to be on May 27th?
I know for a fact when I fought in the Echo on the last one, everyone was there really to see me and Paddy, and the roof came off, and the UFC hasn't had a walkout or seen a walkout like Paddy's before, it just hasn't been done. But I think when I walked out that last time, the roof came off, and my demographic who come to watch me is women, kids and men, whereas it's mostly just lads and young boys who come to watch most fights. But I've kind of like starting to tick all of the boxes, and I think it was probably the loudest female entrance outside of anyone in the UFC. Obviously the likes of Ronda Rousey, you might get a few cheers, but I've got people singing my walkout tune, and my walkout tune's quite a well-known tune in Liverpool because it's by Scouse DJs. And yeah, I was speaking to someone in the UFC on Monday, I had an interview, and they was like, I think the UFC are going to be really shocked by how loud it's going to be, because I'm not sure if I'm first or I'm fifth, but I'll be somewhere in between there. And normally the crowd's not that full first few fights, but I can guarantee there'll probably be more people there for my fight opening the show than there may have been when I headlined in February. So I'm just ready to put on a really good performance for the city, for myself and for the coaches.
And speaking of another Scouser, we have Darren Till, who is headlining. Could you ever imagine, not only Scousers being on a UFC card in Liverpool, but a Scouser headlining the card as well?
Yeah, it was crazy. A couple of years ago when I fought in Brazil, Darren lived there at the time, and I didn't know who he was, but I sent, his manager was called Marcelo, and Marcelo was like, oh, I train a Scouser out here, blah, blah, blah. So I added him on Facebook or Instagram, I can't remember which one. And I messaged him going, hi lad, I'm fighting on Marcelo's show. It'd be good if you come down, show some support and that. And he was like, yeah. I don't think he ended up coming down because something happened with his daughter, but there was always that support there. It's like being a Scouser, you can go anywhere in the world, and if they're from Liverpool, you're looking after your own. Yeah, you'll always bump into one and look after your own. When the cards got announced, he was asked who do you reckon should be on the card, and it was kind of like my name was thrown up there, so was Paddy's, Fishy's, and I think a lad from his gym, Mike Grundy. But he messaged me about a week before I got signed saying, have you had the call yet, kid? I said, no, I'm still waiting here like a bitch star. And he was like, it's coming. So, yeah, it's just going to be nice. It's nice. I wish there was more of us on it. I believe when you've got a talent pool like what we've got, I think it's better than anywhere else in Europe. You always see the rise of certain areas, and I think you've seen the rise of the Irish. The Swedes had a good little run. There was a little time when the Scots was going, Stevie Ray and Jojo Calderwood and all them, and even London you had Brad Pickett and all them down there. But I really feel like the time is now for Liverpool, and the city's thriving. You've got the boxing. If you look at all the boxers, they're all doing really big things. The football teams, my team might not be doing the biggest thing, but they're still up there. Liverpool's really excelled in the Champions League, and MMA, we've got 4 world champions in the city. So we're not doing bad.
So come May 27th, how do you predict the fight is going to go down?
If I honestly believe if I don't finish it within the first 3 minutes, it'll be like the first 2 minutes of the second. I believe I don't need to show her that much respect, but I just want to see where my grappling is. She thinks she's world class and she's a brown belt and she's from American top team, and that all means absolute shit. Do you know what I mean? Because she's got to get past my hands, get past my hips, get me down, keep me down, and then finish me. But if there's anything that I've learned as I've matured is just wait. I know I can put someone asleep with one punch, so I haven't got to chase it. So that's the only reason why I say maybe second. But the second she hears the crowds is all for me. She's going to be shook. It's inevitable. I've seen when she fought Barb Honchak in The Ultimate Fighter, and her head went because she's only 22, 23, and this girl who she was fighting was like 34, seasoned vet, and her head went and she gave it all. I may as well fight the best to beat the best, but like I could see in her eyes, I was like, I'm not quite sure. Don't get me wrong, her training partners, Joanna and Jacek, but the people that I train with are just, they're Scousers. They're not, she's not training with the same prowess of training partners that I am.
Well, we look forward to seeing you on May 27th, and we can't wait to see how loud the Echo Arena is. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thanks very much.